Oh, okay. I do.
King Kong's on the move with a whole lot of pep. Godzilla by his side, they're the talk of the town. When these titans team up, they never back down. They're moving, they're grooving in the city lights. They're proving that when kings and gods align, the world's their stage, is a time to shine. Shake it up, break it down, feel the vibe. Godzilla and Kong, the ultimate tribe. Grooving through the city, they're the funky lords. With every beat, their legend soars. They're the kings of the night, setting the scene with a roar and a stomp. They're the machine, funkin' out, soul and in, they're the story. Kong and Godzilla in all their glory. Godzilla's got the fire breathing down the street. With Kong, they're unstoppable, can't be beat. They stomp to the rhythm, the bass is loud. Together they're ruling, feeling proud. But wait, there's a twist in this funky tale. Godzilla's got ambitions that just can't fail. With a back and so slick, he takes the stage, leaving Kong in the shadows. Feel the fray, shake it up, break it down, feel the vibe. Godzilla's in the spotlight, make no mistake. He's here to funk it up, steal the show. With soulful beats, he's the star of the flow. Ooh, step into the light. The power of the night. Kong and Godzilla. Oh yeah. Rhythm's gonna thrill ya. Harmonies rising. Rising up in the skyline. They're synchronizing. Synchronize. Funk and soul unite. Unite. In the city's heart they ignite.
Now you might pray to God, y'all, but I like Lucifer best of all. Sunday school is a place for fools. It's hot in hell, but the devil's cool. So don't just sit there, join the club. Sell your soul to Beelzebub.
Godzilla and Kong, the ultimate
Hey,
tribe.
everybody,
Grooving
it's
through the city, they're the
Count
funky
Jack.
lords. With every beat, their legend soars. They're the kings of the night, setting the
So
scene
let's
with a
begin.
roar and a stomp.
I guess
They're the
tonight
machines, funk
again,
it out, soul it in,
Horror
they're the story.
Mom.
Kong and Godzilla in all their glory. So that's the story in this funky beat.
Stream.
Gods and kings that won't accept
And
defeat.
how are you doing?
In the end, they stand side by side. In the world of funk, they take it in stride.
I've just been kind of snake on a rock mode. I stayed home. I tried to leave as little as possible, and then I got stuff in the mail, which is always fun.
You got stuck in the mail?
I got stuff in the mail.
Oh, stuff in the mail.
I
I thought you said
showed
you
you-
got stuck in the mail. I was like, what are you doing in the mail in the first place?
I wanted my stepbro to help me out.
Well, I was about to say, like, either that or, like, doesn't the mail get stuff in you? Anyway.
No, I got my Harlan Ellison record, which I showed you, which you just were casually sending me pictures of your Harlan Ellison collection, which I was like, okay, pretty cool, pretty cool.
Yes, I think
Not gonna
so.
lie. Very nicely kept. But funny sidebar to that mail story. So my son was in the bath and my dad was in the living room. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna run out and check the mail real quick. By the time I made it back to the house, because I've got this long ass driveway, my son is naked and comes running out. And why were you going out here when I was doing I was taking a bath, Mom? And he is yelling at me, bare ass naked on my front lawn, giving me shit for checking the mail while he was in the bath. And I'm like, holy crap, get back in the house. Because next door to me is a church. And they are having some sort of party next door. And I'm like, my son is bare ass naked on the front lawn giving me shit while these Christians next door are trying to have a nice little christening, whatever party they're having. And I'm like, can we not upset the Christians next door, please?
They're having a circumcision.
They're having a bris.
Yeah, they're Jewish
Wait.
now. You know how there's Jews for Jesus? Well, this is going the other way.
Remember to tip your moil.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe that there's a position for, like, cutting the foreskin guy.
Right? Strange. But there you go. Make sure you bless it for Seder and nosh on it later.
I should never bite grimace from a moil. It's always so chewy. You know? Yeah.
I was just watching something today where it's like, is the dad from Mrs. Doubtfire actually a bastard? And I'm like, yeah. No,
He's
he's a bad
fucked up.
guy. He's got a good heart, but he's a bad guy.
He's a fucked up guy.
And the guy chokes at the restaurant and it's his fault. I'm just saying.
Yep. He does bad shit, you know. But then again, it was Pierce Brosnan.
But yeah, it was like a list of people's whose actions are actually like have a darker meaning. And I'm like, okay, yeah. I've had a problem with Mrs. Doubtfire pretty much since Mrs. Doubtfire came out, but that's neither here nor there. I had a problem with Beauty and the Beast too, but still.
The cartoon?
Yeah.
The animated
I
one?
was
Yeah. Yeah.
I was obsessed with it.
Stockholmy.
Well, I was obsessed with it when I was a little kid. And my mom, there's somewhere a VHS tape where she's like, I'm recording this for your father. You tell me what's wrong with the end of this movie. No beast. No more beast.
I know.
No beast. No beast. I am 4 and I am pissed off that she's like okay with him turning back into a human when she fell in love with the giant dog thing.
Yeah. Yeah, lion dog horn thing.
Well, sweetheart, it's about how beauty's on the inside. No, but he's not a beast. Your daughter is upset because the beast turned into a human, like he should, because that's how Beauty and the Beast works.
Don't look at me. It's fucking Disney. This is my axe to grind with Disney, and has been forever, which is just the
Pussification.
Must everything be so white and middle class and inoffensive? I'm so sick of this. You know, because the best parts of the movie are always the really, really, really fucking questionable shit. You know, your Ursulas.
Yeah.
You know,
which, by the way, I'm still pissed off that they didn't hire a fucking drag queen to be Ursula in the live action movie.
one. I know what you mean.
Especially, God, I lost his name. He was in the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, Titus, the guy who played Titus.
Yeah, he does a great Poor Unfortunate Souls, and I'm like, get him. Characters based on fucking Divine. Fucker.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Melissa McCarthy's fine because she was a drag king and she used to dress in drag. Fuck that shit.
It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same.
It was supposed to be Divine.
Well, it's like how in the new Time Bandits, none of the Time Bandits are dwarves. You know, and
It's
you're like
Snow White and the 7 unique persons.
Yeah. You're just sort of like, I mean, that worked for Snow White Tale of Terror because we were already like fucking with everything. You know.
But still,
this was I forget, was it Christina Ricci who was in that? Who was Snow White in that movie?
I cannot remember.
Snow White Tale of Terror. If anyone remembers who played Snow White,
sing out in the chat.
Yeah. Put it out in the chat because I cannot remember. I remember it being someone like Christina Ricci.
I saw her play Lizzie Borden and she was great. But don't accept.
Sucks.
Yeah,
she's good. Movie sucks. You know.
I just also want to put it out there. If anyone receives any messages from Lizzie Borden's parents today, don't accept them. They've been hacked. Thank you. That's a very bad joke. That's a Josh pun joke.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, but like, okay, so, you know, I was noticing something today.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually about comic books.
Yes.
For example, like, okay, this one's from the 80s and 90s, right? This is Faust.
Ooh.
It's really, you ever read it?
Nice. Yes.
Yeah. It's ultra violent, ultra sexual. Like, Look, you got a problem with like demons raping people, don't read this book. You know, it's just there's consensual sex as well, but there is no such thing in this world as soft sex. Everything is rough. Someone's getting choked out is what I'm saying. It's just that in some circumstances they are literally consenting to it.
Real quick, I'm gonna grab my favorite old comic off the shelf.
Okay.
And I can't believe I get to show this on air. This is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
here we
actually recommend this omnibus right here.
And I know
It's
you can
60
say,
bucks.
well,
It's
that's
worth it.
everyone's favorite, Rachel.
Beautiful
Fuck you.
reproductions of the black and white, 80s Tim Vigil. Oh, I have that too. I have that.
Isn't this
I have that
beautiful?
book. Yeah. The Complete Batman by Frank Miller is great.
Just the art in it is just fucking beautiful.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, that book collects Batman Year One, The Dark Knight Returns, and a Batman Christmas special that Frank Miller did.
It's so fucking
it's really good. It's faux leather bound. It's got silver gilded pages. It's awesome. I wish that they had come out with a gilded version of Faust. But apparently they didn't. Whoops, lost my bookmark. I have a cross bookmark. Crucifix bookmark because I'm goth like that.
You are goth like that.
Yeah. Now,
we all appreciate
here's the
it.
thing. I've had this thing for like a couple of months now, and I read it regularly. I've only gotten halfway through the omnibus, and this is when I realized something. Like, if you look at the pages, it's a little hard to tell through the camera, but look at all that dialogue.
Yeah. It's weighty.
Huge amount of dialogue in this thing, and that was not unusual for comics at the time. There's a huge amount of dialogue in 80s comics, and I realized that modern comics have like next to no dialogue.
She's gonna go through that door. You mean she's coming through that door? She's coming through the door.
No. I mean, like, literally no text. Like, very little text. And as a result, you go through them much quicker.
Yeah.
But there was another thing. So I was like, wow, they literally don't write them like they used to. It's a completely different style.
I'd say like Count Crowley keeps that feel, like where they're a little more dialogue heavy,
because it's supposed to feel like a Tales from the Crypt.
And it's like,
Tales
thank
from the Crypt was
God
always
for
dialogue
things
heavy.
like that, though. But thank God for things like that.
Oh,
because
yeah, totally.
I've gotten some more modern comic books. I tried, they have a 60s Batman release that they do. Tried going for that, and I was like, man, this is pretty cheesy, I got to admit, but sometimes the writing is just fucking bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know you're supposed to be writing like a 60s Batman episode, but even Adam West would call bullshit on this. And he did.
And he's dead. That would be surprising because he's dead.
Also, how the hell did you make King Tut more flaming than he was in the show?
Speaking of King Tut, I've been watching that Batman the Caped Crusader. I'm not done with it. I still got like 3 episodes left. Like Two-Face, Harvey Dent just became Two-Face.
Okay. I've only made it 3 episodes in, so.
Okay, so I forget, have you reached the Catwoman episode yet?
This is the last one was Catwoman.
Last one was Catwoman. So. Okay, so you've met Harley Quinn, but you have not seen the episode she's in.
Yes.
That's all about her.
Right.
Okay. So they do. Mind if I?
Yeah, you can spoil.
I could spoil it. Okay, great. Okay, so here's what they do with Harley Quinn. There's no Joker yet. There's no Joker yet, and her episode is her by herself. Like, she does not have a Joker to hang off of. Mm-hmm. She takes. What they did was they amplified her psychiatrist background.
Okay.
And you can tell she's a little unhinged. but you don't necessarily understand in what direction she's unhinged until
Well,
her episode.
the whole point of Harley Quinn originally, well, if we're going to talk about the original basis of Harley Quinn, it's because they needed to figure out they weren't going to let, in the animated series, they weren't going to let Joker come out of a cake and drag. They're like, create a female henchman to do this because we're not going to let that on kids' TV. So that's how Harley
That's
Quinn.
how Harley Quinn was made.
But originally, their concept for her was okay, then she'll be this, kind of serious foil for Joker. She's going to be the straight man to the Joker. And that died very quickly.
Yeah, I believe it was Bruce Timm who nixed it. Who was like,
and now,
no, that's not going to work, man.
And from what I've seen of this new Harley Quinn, it seems like they went, no, we're going to go for the serious angle now.
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. Because what she is she is the origin point for a lot of the C-list Batman Rogues Gallery.
Okay.
Because she brainwashes people. She fucking psychologically destroys people. And
wow,
they revert to like, a more childlike state. But they all have hung on to something. So like King Tut has his obsession with Egyptology. That's why he's King Tut. Harley Quinn just breaks his mind, and that's what he holds on to.
Also,
Calendar Man.
Yeah.
Same thing. He has held on to this one thing, which is his ability to remember dates. And you look through it, and in the background, in her lair, you're like, that's King Tut. That's Calendar Man. That's the Clock King.
Nice.
That's, because it's not the same Clock King from the animated series. The Clock King from the animated series was amazing.
Well, and I hope, because they did, if you're saying they do
Condiment, I'm pretty sure Condiment King is also in the background.
Holy fuck, yes. But I'm just saying, if you have the opportunity to do characters from the 60s show as well as some of the more favorable animated characters, that could be really fun, because there are things like Bookworm or seeing a new Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
I'm always down for.
Yeah, I didn't see Mad Hatters because I'm expecting them to make him his own thing. Because this Batman the Caped Crusader is very noir, whereas the animated series is pretty noir. This is heavy noir. So even like the goofy characters have like this real serious streak to them. One character I was really shocked showed up because I was like, why did you bring him in this? I'm not complaining. I'm just puzzled.
Curious.
Papa Midnight. From Hellblazer. He shows up.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there is an episode where there's just straight up magic.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not expecting it. You don't expect it when it happens. You're just like, the fuck? Oh.
Okay.
It's straight up magic. And of course, Batman's like, no, that's crazy. That's not a thing that's real.
Real rich from the guy who doomed an entire island with a vampire, but
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, Hamish. I know what you did, Father Paul.
Speaking of which, it's not, the supernatural is not a one-off. They do it a few times. Yeah, they do it a few times in the first season. First season's only 10 episodes.
And the Penguin switch, I was actually kind of down for.
Was amazing.
Super down for it. But I was also going to mention, it's kind of cool to see King Tut treated seriously when I'm a fan of the original. I grew up on the 60s Batman show. My dad loved showing me the reruns of it. growing up and watching it as an adult, I never realized that the first time King Tut goes goofy is because he got hit with a brick at a Lovin'. They don't call it a Lovin'. They say it was a hug festival at Berkeley. And I'm like, that was a fucking Lovin'.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. He's just sort of like, nope, I'll just have hot Egyptian bitches and be King Tut.
So if King Tut gets hit with a brick at a Lovin' and then decides he's an Egyptian pharaoh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And they don't call it Berkeley, of course, because it's Gotham, but you know it's Berkeley. And you're like, I think they call it like Barkley or something. Like it's so close. And you're like, the fuck am I actually, were we doing this? We're doing this. Okay. Damn it.
Yeah. Baby Doll has not shown up yet. I don't think Roxanne Rocket has either.
Oh, Baby Doll's gonna be so much fun though.
I don't know if they can hit that fucking note any harder than they did in the animated series.
But I have a soft spot where
Oh
whatever
yeah, I love
happened
that
to Baby
character.
Jane.
I love that character. You know, but I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna want to ring that exact bell twice because like they haven't shown Mr. Freeze either.
Hmm.
But what's interesting about Harley Quinn is she's actually a combination of like Harley Quinn and Adam Strange.
Well, that's nice.
You know?
Kind of combining those two characters, especially since they both have medical degrees.
Yeah. And of course, in this one, they chose the right Clayface to use.
Yes.
Instead of it being Matt Hagen, it's oh god, Boris Karloff.
But my favorite thing that has happened is I'm watching that episode and I'm like, oh my god, they did it right, and it's Boris Karloff. And you know, like I said in the intro when we were just talking, that it's like they made it back to the Lon Chaney just went fucking nuts with this shit,
yes,
and not super space mud.
Yeah.
But
he's still like the product of mad science, but
there's a behind the scenes photo of Boris Karloff on the set of The Black Cat talking to one of the girls in the tubes. And it is seriously like she's got the short black hair and the white silk dress. And I'm like, they must have seen this image and went, this is an episode.
Oh, yeah. Like, because you're like, oh, like that's, yeah, because that's the image of Nora Freeze, right? In the tube.
But that's like directly like one of the shots out of this Batman episode. And I'm like, fuck. Not only are
those guys love those classic black and white horror movies. Fucking love them. Which totally makes sense because that's where Batman actually comes from. He comes from two movies, two old silent horror movies, which are Deflator Mouse and The Man Who Laughs.
And I love The Man Who Laughs. And anyone that's tries to argue
in many ways it's the superior Hunchback of Notre Dame story.
So good, so fucking good. I have a soft spot for that movie, that actor, that everything. I really love old pre-code silent films.
Yeah, Cat Herman is mentioning that Killer Croc makes an appearance in one of the episodes as well. I saw that one. That's a really good one.
Speaking my heart.
The other thing about that episode that I really leaked, did you notice all of the kids who are kidnapped in that episode are named after a Robin?
Oh, really?
There's a Dick, there's a Jason, there's a the one from Batman Returns. I forget her actual name.
I forgot.
The red-haired girl.
Yeah.
With the glasses.
Oh, let me just really quickly.
Yeah. I think her name is like Roxanne or Robin or something. I can't remember.
I could just look, but
I believe there's even a Cassandra.
Wow. God, she's cute. At one point, they wanted Winona Ryder to be that Batgirl or Robin, and I'm like, Why did that never fucking happen? Because Tim Burton didn't want to fucking deal with it.
There's a Carrie and a Steffi. That's right.
Uh,
Yeah, it's a really good episode. It's a real good episode because it's also one of those. I noticed that they're bringing back this one aspect of Batman that I kind of appreciate the fact that they're bringing back, which is Batman as a hero. You know, not as the Caped Crusader, just I gotta save this bus load of kids kind of stuff. You know, which is really nice. Like they first brought it back in the Batman movie, which
but
I loved, actually. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize how much I had missed Batman being a hero.
I like the Robert Pattinson Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Because it also has Batman being a fucking detective and scientist.
Yes.
I remember when people were talking about, he's too young to play Batman. I'm like, they're doing year one. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. They're doing year one. Something I have waited for since I read the book when I was a kid. They're doing year one. Fuck yes.
I don't know why, but my favorite shot of the movie is when they bring in the bomb robot into the church.
Yes.
I do not know why, because Orguru disagrees with me on this. That happened, and I started laughing.
Okay. I went to go see this movie with my older brother.
Mm-hmm.
Opening night. This fucker made me crack up in the theater twice. Like uncomfortable, loud. You should not be laughing right now. Why are you laughing, bitch? Shut the fuck up. Moments. First one, when his wingsuit fails. My brother leans over to me and says, "Hi, I'm Bruce Wayne. Welcome to Jackass." And I'm like, fuck. Next is the interview with the Riddler in the prison. No, I'm going to help you. I've been helping you this entire time. And my brother, who has been a fan of the Riddler since he watched Jim Carrey do it as a fucking kid, leans over in the perfect Jim Carrey.
Understand.
Exactly. With the perfect Jim Carrey voice. He was supposed to understand. Bastard! I'm cracking up. People are looking at me like I'm a fucking psycho. And I'm like,
I was actually really surprised. I was really happy with the way they did the Riddler. Because years ago, Horror Guru had pitched the idea of the Riddler as the Zodiac killer to me.
Yeah.
And we riffed on that. We would riff on that for ages.
It does make a lot of sense.
And then it happened. And we were like, holy shit, did they hear us? Like,
my dad had that moment with Big Trouble in Little China where he was talking to his friends like, what if it's a superhero movie, but you focus on the sidekick?
Yeah, it's exactly Big Trouble in Little China.
And my dad watches Big Trouble in Little China. He's like, fucking John Carpenter mic'd my fucking bedroom. Goddamn motherfucker.
Yes.
Yeah. It happens.
You know, the thing I'm really enjoying, the thing I'm noticing about Batman the Caped Crusader is that it's Bruce Timm not wanting to repeat himself.
Which is always good.
No, it is good. It is good. Like, it's not the same Catwoman, although it is a Catwoman. You know, much more related to the Catwoman of the early comics. It is Harley Quinn, but it is not the one that they made for the animated series. It is a different Penguin. Harvey Dent is an asshole from the get-go. He's a two-faced piece of shit from the get-go. He doesn't have suppressed anger. He is a lying shithead. Bullock is corrupt as all fuck, whereas in the in the animated series, Bullock was like an asshole but was incorruptible. In this one, he is beyond corrupted.
And you have the movie that basically has him being a fucking crooked cop for 5 minutes that he's in the fucking film.
It's not technically Bullock. His name is Eckhart.
But we all know.
But we all know it's Bullock, right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's like some of the greatest things got lost.
Drinking Drano. Yeah.
Well, okay, when hey Eckhart and he throws him a sandwich, you were supposed to clearly see that the sandwich had money in it. And it's like a blink and you miss the dollar bills that are coming out of the sandwich. Like,
Yeah.
dude.
No, I got that from the first viewing.
It's like, man, if you could have just done that shot a little bit better. The fact that the actual first bat signal was supposed to be created by God damn it, I lost his name now. Knox. He was supposed to throw a cape over a spotlight at the Joker's parade
Oh,
and create the first
that
bat
would have been
signal.
cool.
Lost in the script.
Yeah.
Where does he get those wonderful toys? Well, ask him. Also, my dad's name is Bob, and I found out that they made henchman Bob figures for that release, and I hunted one down to give him for his birthday.
Yeah, that's oh god, that actor.
Oh God, I'm never gonna remember his name
Character
after I said
actor.
it. Damn it!
He's the
I love
the
him
Repo
too.
Man and everything, every other thing ever.
He's the funeral home director in Silence of the Lambs too.
Yeah.
Not Silence of the Lambs, the sequel, you fucks. You know what I mean. Damn it. Bob the Goon.
Bob
Tracy Walter.
Tracy Walter. Yeah.
Bob Gunn.
Gun. Gonna need a minute or two alone, boys.
He's so fucking good. And actually, there's a group of guys that just dress up as the Joker's gang and go to conventions, and I want to meet them so badly.
Ooh. Do they play Party Man?
They do, with the giant boombox.
Yes.
And they're all carrying paint cans, and that's their thing. And I'm like, I want to meet you guys. I want to be your friend.
Party Man. It was actually apparently Jack Nicholson that got Prince on the soundtrack. Because he's like,
Well,
no, you should get Prince on the sound. Jack Nicholson is filled with these really off-the-wall ideas that somehow work.
Well, I've got mad respect for him because, yeah, getting Prince, and then Prince thought he was doing the whole fucking soundtrack, and Tim Burton went, no,
Not all of it, you know, like you.
Well, I wrote a full album worth of music. So then you got the Danny Elfman soundtrack, and then you got the Prince sidebar soundtrack that came in a tin like this.
I remember that.
I grew up with that tin.
Actually, I had the single of Bat Dance for the longest time. It had Bat Dance on one side, and then it had like the extended instrumental on the other.
But I just remember, hey, Rachel, go get the Prince records. And I would run. And the first one I would grab is that fucking Batman disc. And yes.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Danny Elfman changed the way a Batman sounds forever. You know, like literally that. Da, na, 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 na. Yeah, that's Elfman. You know, so cool. And of course that whole sequence where he's driving the Batmobile into the side of the cave.
Oh God, yes.
Like he's he's fucking Dracula and shit.
Yes.
It's so cool.
That reminds me, College Humor years and years ago, I think I was still in high school, put out a video, which is every Tim Burton film ever. And it's Tim Burton at a pitch meeting with his team. And Danny Elfman, what do you got for the soundtrack? Shit. Da 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 la 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 bum bum bum. Great, start recording. Moves on to like the next person, and it's like, what are you gonna do? I'm going to paint black stripes on something that isn't black. Perfect. We're gonna start with an elaborate tracking shot. When can I ever not do that?
It's man, those guys were like a powerhouse forever. Yeah, I think the first time there was like a Danny Elfman soundtrack where it wasn't a Tim Burton movie, I think was X-Men, actually.
He did do the music for Weird Science.
Okay, that's true. That's true. He did do the music for Weird Science, but like that felt more like Oingo Boingo in general.
Yeah, and apparently he was going nuts between trying to do Oingo Boingo and a soundtrack and making it work. And then he got Pee Wee, and then that became his life.
Dun 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 dun. Yeah, man, so good. So fucking good.
And keep in mind, people, I'm not shitting on Tim Burton or Danny Elfman. I got burned in the past by Tim Burton, and I still haven't forgiven him
Oh,
for it.
which one?
Alice in Wonderland was the start where I was
Oh,
like, something that wasn't
yeah.
as good as it should have been. And then Dark Shadows happened, and I'm like, he's doing a property that I actually love. Oh shit.
Excuse me, mosquito.
Yeah.
Skater. Yeah, like the minute I saw Johnny Depp, I was worried. Because I was like, as Barnabas? Shouldn't you get like Walter Matthau to play Barnabas? You know, because he was alive. He was still alive.
You could do a lot of things, and it just like it failed so hard for me. Other than the soundtrack, I really couldn't find anything in that movie to really love. Sorry about it. But when you're a fan of that original series and like the two movies that came off of it, it's like,
yeah, even if you were going to make it into the Addams Family, like give it an Addams Family like humor.
yeah.
Like he fell short of that too. You know, that was the first Tim Burton movie I saw that I was like, categorically it sucks. Like category, it's just bad.
And then I didn't even bother to go see Miss Peregrine's Home for Wayward Children.
I didn't either.
It's like, man, I don't think I can do Tim Burton anymore. And then
man, this Beetlejuice sequel looks like it could be really good.
It really could.
I'm shocked.
I also like that posters got leaked that said, "Come meet your stepdad from hell." And I'm like, okay, hold the fuck up. Now I'm invested. You had my interest.
You had my attention. Now you have my interest, you know? Yeah. Well, it's like there's only one person that I wish was in the movie but can't be, which is Otho.
Yeah.
You know, like I loved that. I loved that actor.
He's great in everything he's fucking in.
And the way that life can suck.
And just even like him in the background when he just like nods along when the dad's doing my son was a homosexual. I love my dead gay son.
Yeah.
And he's just like with the Bible and just like, let it out, son. Let's hear it.
Yeah. That's Heather's for those of you, for any of you Philistines out there.
We're all going to miss our little Eskimo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's so good. He was so good. Ed, although I think my favorite Tim Burton movie, period. Like there are two that are neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
One being, oh man, actually, yeah, I should count Batman. Okay, there are three neck and neck. There's Batman 86, 89, Edward Scissorhands, and Ed Wood.
Ed Wood is probably my favorite.
Yeah. Ed Wood slightly edges out the other two as far as my favorite Tim Burton film.
I quote that more than anything else in my
lost my pearlies in the war. Actually, I mean, probably the line I say the most is the most obvious one for me to say. What a set of jugs.
We were at my brother's wedding and I was like, Okay, I'm dying here. I need a cigarette. And I came back in. Children, I love children. Because that's how it feels. Or even, oh my God.
Yeah.
My next one will be better. Hello? Hello.
My favorite, oh my God, there was like a there was a period of time like right after Ed Wood and into and just post the production of Mars Attacks, where
A film that changed me.
where Tim Burton was getting really bitchy with critics. And my favorite moment of that came when during the press junket for Mars Attacks, this one guy said, "Well, I guess now we know what kind of movie Ed Wood would have made if he had had
Budget.
like if he had had like $50 million," and which I think was I forget how much it cost. Mars Attacks cost, but it was a pretty big amount for the time. So it's probably like $100 million.
Yeah.
And Tim Burton clapped back with, "That's patently ridiculous. We all know that if fucking Ed Wood Jr. had made a movie and spent $100 million on it, he would have made Congo." And the thing is, he's dead on right.
Yes.
He's dead
100%.
on fucking right. Like, I watched Congo again because of that comment. And I was like, is he just
wasn't wrong.
bitching about, is he just like ragging on Congo, or is there more to it? No, there's totally more to it. It's got Ed Wood style dialogue. It makes no sense. It's got a bullshit peace message. Like,
So
there's a
good.
science fiction element that doesn't belong. You know, like, I'm like, oh shit, no, he's 100% on the money on this.
Also, Spirit Halloween last year did a whole Mars Attacks thing, and my son really just liked this Martian. It's like a tablecloth, almost tablecloth material, but you put it on your door, and it's called a door burster. And they had a Leatherface one, they had a Martian that like blew your door down. And my son was obsessed with this fucking thing. He still has it up to this day. He has a Mars Attacks blanket. He has a Mars Attacks model. He has a Mars Attacks snow globe. He loves Mars Attacks. And today was, "Mom, for Halloween, can I be a Martian?" And I'm like, "Of course you can be an alien, buddy." He's like, "No, ack, 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 ack." And I'm like, "Yes, we will make you a Mars Attacks Martian." And I went on Amazon. They have the Martian female's dress. And I'm like, I'm going to take this kid trick-or-treating. I don't care if anybody fucking gets what I am, because I'm going to do the big blonde hair and I'm going to be walking around in that fucking swirly ass dress, taking my little Martian son trick-or-treating. I don't give a fuck. Every other trick-or-treater, I will be the coolest person on that block. I've even started making the eyeball ring. And I'm like, I just want that little bit of cheek flesh to be missing, and that'll be perfect for me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Michael Crichton. He don't write science fiction as well as he writes medical dramas. I don't care if he wrote Jurassic Park. You read that book, compare it to the movie, and you're like, wait a minute, this stinks.
I want to know what hurt him at Disneyland.
I know what hurt me at Disneyland. Disneyland. Fuck Disney.
That man has a fucking grudge against theme parks.
I believe you are correct.
Think about Westworld, man.
Yeah. Oh, did he work on the Westworld show?
He worked on the Westworld movie.
Oh, shit. That's right. He has been around that long.
Yeah.
And oh, God.
Like, when you put together that he wrote Westworld, Future World, and Jurassic Park, you're like, what happened
he also
at you?
write Millennium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happened to you at like Disneyland? Did a Pirates of the Caribbean ride like shut down and you freaked out? Because what happened? Who hurt you? And one of the best rants I ever went on was at Westworld because I was talking about how does a hooker bot break down? And then I'm like, and who has to clean out the spunk from a hooker bot? And what happens when the hooker bot starts to break down inside and gnaws off someone's dick? Because that's got to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just
You've got a hooker bot, you know, like
they're
something.
70s androids. There's gears and wires and electric shock happening. If that shit ever breaks down, I'm just saying.
Yep.
Rachel, there are a million and one things to complain about the holes in that movie, and you're complaining about the hooker bot's vagina. I know.
Yes.
I know.
Oh,
I think about
important.
these things because me and my kinky little friends do have questions.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons I like The Lighthouse so much, which it answered a question that I always had, which is
Mermaid pussy.
Mermaid pussy. What does that? What is that like? What does it look like?
And
the answer is
and
sashimi.
a shark.
It looks like a really big sashimi shaped like a vulva. And I find myself going, I'd hit it.
Yeah. That's a good looking fucking.
Yeah, it's a nice looking pussy. It's very big. It's definitely that pussy that fucking Shane Black is talking about in Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Geez, you got a big pussy. Geez, you got a big pussy. It was the echo.
I have a story about that. I was doing the Lighthouse on a stream with somebody. I won't say who, but we talked very infrequently on Discord. We were more friends on Twitter. And when we were setting up to do the Lighthouse, I'm like, hey, I've got a censor of the mermaid's vagina, but you haven't seen this movie before. So I'm going to send it to you, a picture of it in chat, so you at least know what it looks like. I went to the bathroom. I missed the vagina, so I didn't get to censor it. But for months, because we talk so infrequently, there was this mermaid puss hanging out on our Discord. And whenever we'd open it to talk to each other, we'd have to discuss. It's still there, man.
Yep.
We can't take it down because it's now a feature. But I mean, I could probably go back to my conversations with this person and still take a screenshot of mermaid puss in the chat.
Wait, there's an article called The Lighthouse Mermaid Vagina Scene Explained? What are you explaining?
That it's based on a shark's pussy?
It's just there. Like,
also, I've seen shark jizz, but that's a different story.
Yeah, it's a slightly different thing. What do you need explained? If it had been like the origin of the mermaid pussy in the Lighthouse, I'd have been like, okay, maybe there's a story here. You know,
how did they get to that specific design? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But saying like, well, we have to explain it. I actually hate those videos where it's like, the ending explained, because really there aren't many movies that you have to have explained to you, in my opinion, unless you're really not paying attention. You know, especially the movies that they tend to do. It's like, oh, the end of Friday the 13th explained. It was his mom. Like, what?
Ooh.
I just saved you 17 fucking minutes. You know, like, it was his mom. Done. You know, the ending of fucking Friday the 13th Part 5. It's not Jason.
Explain
there, that's
Psycho.
the explanation. You know, like,
killed his mother. She's mummified in the basement, and he dresses up as her every once in a while. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's see. Explain Kill Bill. A woman goes on a roaring rampage of revenge to kill Bill. Eventually she does.
Yeah, eventually she does, except he might not be dead. There. That's the end of the movie. That's
and for some reason, yeah. What's House of a Thousand Corpses about? It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre without chainsaws.
Yes.
And titties.
Yeah.
There you go.
Rob Zombie writes a plot that has a beginning, middle, and end and realizes his ending sucks, and so he just goes Fulci with it.
Though Josh did confirm something the last time he was here. I'm like, God, I love Rob Zombie's lyrics, but sometimes you wonder, is he just high on acid and making up shit? And he's like, yeah, that's exactly how some of those songs get written. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
I'm a ride rough shot in Peter Pan, and I gotta. Yeah, fuck it.
Exactly. Ding gang gong, the dude gong, the laga raga, baby.
Yeah.
I had a friend that hit him in the face with her tits. Probably wasn't the weirdest thing.
Would that on the tit scale, would that have been a blessing or a curse?
She had double D's.
Okay.
And
reasonably well placed. So,
yes.
Okay.
She jumped up on stage, took down her halter top. He turned to see what the fuck was going on and got whacked by some titties. And then she dove off the stage. And I was like, I'm proud of you, Delana, but fuck. Rob is like, stop singing and is a little bit bewildered right now because you just got a face full of titty.
Yeah, he didn't know what to do with it because he wasn't expecting it at that exact moment. He was in the zone.
And
it's like, what are we doing? Is it still Dragula?
All right,
I remember
living dead girl.
Oh my god, yeah, I hate those ending explained videos because, like, I found that if I need the ending explained to me, I actually got it right the first time, and I was just trying not to hate the movie.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of shit where I get to the end and I am like, fuck you.
Yeah. That's how I felt when somebody pointed out how many times the Star Trek and in Star Trek they meet God. And I'm like, shit, you're right.
Yeah, we gotta do this.
It does happen a lot.
They did that like 3 movies in a row.
They did that 3 movies in a row. It happens all the time on the original series.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, huh. Okay. Thanks for pointing that out. Now I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah. In fact, although I will say, of all the Star Trek movies, in my opinion, there is one that stands head and shoulders above all the rest. And no, it is not Wrath of Khan. It is The Voyage Home. It is my favorite of the Star Trek movies. Now, if you're like, well, Wrath of Khan is so much better, I'm not here. I'm not about that life. I'm about going back in time to save humpback whales from San Francisco in order to save the future.
Which, when I went to San Francisco, Josh was very nice and pointed out the different spots from the movie. And I was like, oh my God. But
oh, man.
Also, Star Trek scripts did give me one of my favorite things to fucking say. And it's an off the wall fucking thing to put in a script. What does God need with a starship? Bones looks at Kirk like he just cut a fart in church. And I'm like, that's exactly what DeForest Kelley did. That's number 1. Number 2, oh my God, who writes that fucking line in their script and goes, done. I'm getting paid today. You don't ask the Almighty why it needs a starship. No, I would definitely ask the Almighty why the fuck it needs a ship. Dickhead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the difference between the way Shatner delivers that line and the way Nimoy delivers that line, because he delivers the exact same line like 10 seconds later, is so different. Like, Shatner does it, and you're like, well, you got a good point, but why did it sound so weird when you said it?
What does God need with a starship?
Whereas Leonard Nimoy says it like Spock's like, he has a point. What does God need with a starship? You're just sort of like, yeah, see?
That's what normal line delivery sounds like.
Yeah.
Even Kevin Pollak, and I used to have a
when did 4 become underrated? I have no idea. At some point. at some point,
People
a
don't
lot
give
of
enough
people
respect for that movie.
thought that, yeah, I remember at the time everyone loved it. It was like everyone's at least second favorite Star Trek movie.
And my dad just calls it Star Trek Save the Whales.
Fuck yeah, save the whales. Giant Coke can came out of space, start evaporating the oceans. Whales don't start talking to them. Hell yeah.
It speaks in whale songs. That's the coolest. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, this is a Spock's Brain episode done as a big budget movie. And I was
Everybody
so
remember where we
there for
parked.
it. I was so there for it.
So good. But Jesus.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, they make God a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, like back on the earliest topic, like, yeah, I noticed that they don't use as much dialogue in comics anymore. And I found myself going, I think they should start putting more dialogue in it, because I don't remember those comics as well as I do the ones where I'm actually reading.
Yeah. That's the wonder of reading.
Because here's the thing. They're trying to mimic what a lot of manga does. But the manga artists are just better at it. They're better at portraying these long silent moments in comic format. They're just better at it. Like there's that entire sequence in Akira that is silent in the manga where, like, you know, everything is exploding and stuff. And you're just like looking at it. And you're like,
damn.
Because there's stuff you actually want to look at.
Yeah.
A lot of them just have like nothing in particular. It's just stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care about stuff. You know,
what
you
an
didn't make
epic
me care about stuff.
Well, it's like 3 pages of fucking Superman flying. I remember that in a recent one that I picked up for my son because he wanted it. And I'm like, we really need 3 pages of just silent epic shots? If this is a movie, that'd be okay.
Yeah.
But that's 3 pages you fucking wasted. And I spent $5 on this fucking
this is
thing.
A storyboard. You know, like that's how I feel about a lot of them, which is like, this is not comic, this is storyboard. And there's nothing wrong with storyboard, except the storyboard's supposed to become a movie. You know, it could be an animated movie, but like, why did he up and away? And then he lands, boom, next panel. Like, the hell? You know, and you know it took time for the artist to do that.
Yeah.
So you're like, why are you? I feel like you're wasting everybody's time. You're wasting the writer's time. You're wasting the artist's time. You're wasting the audience's time.
Well, and kind of shit on the writer a little bit, which I hate doing, but still, you couldn't come up with anything for 3 pages?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was the line just epic flight sequence? What's the deal?
Yeah, well, like it reminds me that Stan Lee was kind of right. That he was kind of right, which is like, if the art goes on too long, you have to put more words in. If there are too many words, it needs more art.
Well, and it's like, again, trying to get my son into comic books. And I mentioned, she's going to come through that door. She's going to come through that door. I just have a feeling like this place is going to get pumpkin bombed. And it does. And you're like, oh, thank God the Green Goblin does what the Green Goblin do. Thanks.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel as exciting either. Even without the nostalgia goggles. You know, you're like, well, I mean, the old Batman. In the old Spider-Man, he just shows up, ha 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 ha, and starts throwing shit. But here it's like, I get that you're trying to establish mood, but the problem is that you're doing it in the way an average A24 film does it, which does not work outside of moving pictures. It's just boring.
And there's just part of my heart that's like, I kind of miss when Peter Parker wasn't some super genius. I miss when he was a normal teenager dealing with the fact that he's also got high school to deal with and being a superhero and his part-time job at the paper. I miss, and prom is tomorrow.
Yeah. I
I miss Batman being a detective and a scientist.
Yeah, and the other thing that I've noticed, and this is about the art right now, which is the art style that's really popular in comics right now, I actually don't care for. It's too soft.
I'll pull it up again just because this is some of my favorite art in a comic book.
Yeah.
Even I was talking to you about I got the Dream Corridor today, Harlan Ellison's Dream Corridor with all the different artists in it. All of the art that's in it is just fucking incredible and weird and kind of trippy, and it's different artists every time, and you're getting different flavors. And I like the different flavors. It's like, ooh, give me some more mint chocolate chip, and then I'm gonna try some Rocky Road. Thank you so much. And it kind of kills me that we've kind of lost some of the originality in these comic books of art styles.
Yeah. It's in
Very
the
clean.
80s and in early 90s, there was a plethora of different styles used in comics. Now there's like only two or three.
I like
There's
when
your
it looks
superhero style.
punk and junky.
Yeah, you've got your standard superhero style, which honestly is a little boring at the moment because the standard superhero style right now is I don't want to. It all looks like Greg Land to me,
Yeah.
even when it's not Greg Land. It all looks like Greg Land to me because I'm like, well, I mean, this is
Well, it's like they're
okay.
tossing a base model at people and going, make this.
Yeah, exactly. And that to me is a problem because like
To be fair,
I'm not I'm I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of it. The other style, which I'm not a big fan of, is this kind of the the alternative. I hate to say it this way, but there are a lot of queer alternative comic books that all have the same soft art style, and I'm like, I don't hate this art style, but you, everyone's doing it, and it's not like comics haven't copied each other before, but it's even in things that are supposed to be like horror comics, and I'm like, what?
the fuck?
The fuck? Yeah, like what made you decide to do this like kind of almost Steven Universe-y fucking style for a horror story? It completely undercuts everything. Like why wouldn't you do Tales from the Crypt at least? Like it's right over there. There isn't a comic book store in the world doesn't have a Tales from the Crypt collection. You know?
I also really love still Hellboy stories and Mike
Mm,
Mignola's art. That's some of my, like, if I
yeah.
could have some of that shit framed, I would.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy is cut above. You
Even
know.
he did like a series where he was just doing like sketches and posting them on Twitter. And like the Count, but he's like from Sesame Street, but as an actual vampire.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
Kermit the Frog is a fucking mutant. And I'm like, I want these so badly as trading cards. I want his fucking Sesame Street where Cookie Monster is like a fucking cookie zombie. Give me more of
Yeah.
this, please.
Yeah, Chrome
Love
Bison
him.
is like, oh, the Cal Art style. Yeah. A lot of the Cal Art students got into this one particular style of animation, making everything like kind of soft and a little bouncy. Um, and like almost every cartoon has it. Now, not absolutely everyone. For example, Cape Crusader does not have it.
Yeah.
but there was a period of time where like everything looked like Steven Universe, because it was those same people, like Steven Universe, even shows that I liked, like
Owl House.
Owl House, or the other one, freaking Gravity Falls.
I love Gravity Falls, but yes.
Yeah. But it still has the same like soft art style. They were just they were better able to mutate it in that show than in a lot of others. Same with Owl House. Like you could tell they were like, oh yeah, it's for kids, but we're supposed to be entertaining adults too.
Which I miss when shows did that actively.
Yeah.
Like there were as many jokes for your parents as there were for the kids. And when you grew up and you watched Rocco working at a sex line, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby.
Yeah.
Rocco, Mrs. Bighead, click, click. Or the fucking Animaniacs was great at it.
Yeah.
No, I said fingerprints. Prince is being held by Dot and smiles at her. I don't think so. And she chucks him out a window. I think Madonna makes a joke with two Japanese businessmen and says, let's go play a game of hide the sushi. And I'm like, as an adult, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the whole controversy of it actually I wouldn't say it was a controversy just so much as, but the observation had merit. It was what everything looked like at the time, unless you were like Aqua Teen Hunger Force or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know why, but that particular crop of like Cal Arts students are the ones that did that. And I think it's a very marketable style, but
we've lost some originality here.
It's more like I don't particularly care, because I am so used to the idea of things that I really like not being marketable, and when they make tons of money, everyone's shocked, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's because it's good. No. It's because it's good. It is sometimes it is that simple. Sometimes people are actually looking for like real entertainment, and I'll be really fucking honest. All right. Sensitive ears need to close themselves. I can't stand animation fans. I cannot get into a discussion with an animation fan. First of all, I always know.
Oh, shit.
Oh, something's up.
I left the candle burning.
Oh.
Behind me, and I realized it's basically all liquid, and now I'm afraid it's going to explode. But my house does now smell like vanilla and bourbon, so that's nice.
Nice. But yeah, like, even if if I'm not in a conversation about animation, I can always tell an animation fan, as opposed to someone who just likes animation. I can tell the animation, better way to put it, I can tell the animation fan from the artist. To me, it's like clear as fucking day. It's simple. It's easy. I don't even have to think about it. Because there's something emotionally trapped in childhood that often infects all the social interactions. And it gets weird. It gets very, 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 very weird, because there is a childish behavior, not like like nurturing the child within or whatever, but like there's like this emotional behavior that I'm like, this is like something an 8-year-old would do. except you're using adult words. You know, like a person will pitch a fit the way a child will, as opposed to an adult. And it is hard for me to deal with because it's hard for me to respect.
Well, how dare you attack their childhood? No, I'm really not. I'm just saying I didn't like this show.
Yeah, yeah. And what do you? And how am I attacking your childhood? The show came out yesterday. You're in your 30s. You know, like,
I didn't like the new animation style for Teen Titans when they brought that back.
oh no, I hated it. You
And
talking
I'm
about that
like,
Teen Titans Go?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was terrible. I was
And
like,
I'm like,
wow, this is so not the show that everyone was looking for.
well, and again, my son picks up on these things and then he like catches, somebody wearing a backpack or catches a video on kids' YouTube and then wants to watch it. And I watch it with him and I'm like, can't wait till you're a little bit older so I can show you real Teen Titans, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Or Ed, Edd n Eddy or Courage the Cowardly Dog. Courage the Cowardly Dog, we've tried and he's gotten freaked out. And I'm like, that's the point.
Yeah.
Return the slab. Mommy, make it go away. Are you kidding me? Damn it. Okay. We'll never get to Freaky Fred at this point. I just want you to know that. And that's Mommy's favorite episode. So, Powerpuff Girls. He loves the Powerpuff Girls. And I've heard they're redoing that. I don't even know if that's come out yet.
Yeah,
but I'm
they've
like,
already done that a few times, actually.
but I'm like, if they make it again, it's going to be shit. And you're never going to get that murdered magician that's a fucking zombie. Fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we got to make it nice for the kids. What was the difference between us and fucking 90s babies that got fucking terrifying shit?
Because in the 90s, the things that they're remaking now were not supposed to be successful. They did everything wrong. They were not product. They were not product. They were actual shows. They were actually written, like even the Powerpuff Girls, like that just came from a really silly, goofy place. That wasn't supposed to be like selling advertisement, because at that point, Cartoon Network would just take anything. They had no advertising dollars.
I also want, if anyone's a My Chemical Romance fan in the audience, Powerpuff Girls episode, some of them were inked by Gerard Way, because that was his job at fucking Cartoon Network for a little bit.
Yep.
He actually pitched a show to them and they didn't take him up on it, called The Breakfast Monkey. And I have created an entire, I did the voice, and then I've created a different alternate life for the Breakfast Monkey. I've completely adapted it. He can sue me. I don't care. Because sometimes it's fun to be a little French monkey with superpowers. They make breakfast. Like, even to the point where when my mom was alive, she's like, and the Breakfast Monkey had a baby and its name is Waffle. You cannot convince me otherwise. And I'm like, oh, that is perfect. We're getting my son involved. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is that Teen Titans Go actually was really popular. It just not with anyone who liked the old Teen Titans show.
Yeah, and if you were a fan of the Teen Titans comic book, you're just kind of like,
oh yeah, you were completely shit out of luck. You know?
No, we're gonna focus on things being goofy.
Yeah, okay? And you find yourself going like, you're not gonna fight a supervillain or something. Like,
you're gonna try to figure out how to get into a movie for an episode.
For a whole episode. Okay.
I want Mad Mod. I miss him.
Yep. But like, oh, excuse me. Oh, but yeah. I've being Count Jackula and having been on Channel Awesome, I have met many animation fans. Like I said, not artists, animation fans. And there is a reason when I was originally going to get into animation, and after one semester, I was like, I'm out. I'm out because I'm never going to be able to do what is the kind of stuff I want to do. It's never going to happen. There are too many things moving against me,
Aw.
not the least of which is the people around me.
That's like when I went to school for writing and my
Oh,
teachers, yeah, before was a nurse, I wanted to be a writer. And you can't do what you're doing. And I'm like, well, what am I doing wrong? Essentially, well, your stories are nice, but you can't write horror stories. I'm like, okay. And then it was, and you write in your vernacular. And I'm like,
what?
so because I write the way I speak,
Yeah.
that doesn't fly.
Well,
Okay.
are they period pieces? Why wouldn't that fly?
No idea. They're
Oh,
not. They're usually dystopian futures or,
yeah. Well, I've come to the conclusion that like writers groups and classes are all horseshit.
yeah.
I've
I got turned
never,
off of writing very quickly.
yeah, because like here's the thing, like if you take a class for writing, um, it's really only a minor. It's not a major. Even if you take it as a major, it never feels like a major because it feels like what they're teaching you to write are like
Articles,
articles. Yeah. And
they're
you're
trying to
like,
teach,
but what about all this other stuff?
and
Like,
you're giving me like a free project to do. I write a story about a vampire hooker, and the whole way she's getting away with it is because a woman couldn't commit such acts of violence. And that's her whole deal. And I had fun with that. And I got a fucking C on the paper. And it's like, no, you can't be writing stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I'm not.
yeah, yeah. And the reality is that I have seen good writers and writers groups, but I have only seen writers groups discourage good writers. I'm sure that probably changes once you got like real writers who are like actually on their level. Because as I like to say, never is the fighting so bitter as when the stakes are so low. Um, that was definitely true for video making. Whoa.
But it's like they're trying to teach you how to get a job and what's marketable. And when you
Yeah,
don't
fuck
want
that.
that, it's kind of useless.
Yeah, fuck that. Like what's the point of that? What's the point of this? There's a whole real world out there that will tell me that. I don't need you to tell me that. I am here to write. I'm here to talk about what I am expecting is structure, understanding of genre, understanding of tone, establishment of atmosphere, the nuts and bolts. But you want to tell me about what's marketable, and you're wrong all the time. They're never right. They're always wrong because times change.
No, but the bitch that was writing like a Nicholas Sparks novel in the fucking class, she was fine.
Yeah, because Nicholas Sparks was popular at the time, but who gives a shit by the time she's a professional writer? That fad will have passed.
If she ever makes it there.
Oh yeah, because Nicholas Sparks sucks.
I'll tell you, everyone in my writing class, I have never seen their name on an article. I have never seen anything from these people.
Yeah, because they don't stop writing crap.
Got to talk to all the time about my violent writing. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, a bisexual vampire hooker, no, not cool. And she was working 52nd Street and
Yeah.
taking out scumbags in porn theaters. Kind of
Yeah.
okay, imagine
Whereas I'm
coffee
like,
is,
no, horror. That's where it all starts. It all starts there. It all starts with horror.
it's really coffee, but she's a
All fiction.
vampire.
All fiction starts with horror. You know, everything else is just an outcropping of it. You know, that's the well. That's the well of uncertainty and darkness. That's crossing the border. Horror is crossing the borderlands. That's the threshold of adventure.
But I want to write like my favorite writers. Like, why can't I do that? Because it's wrong. How can I be like, I always had that problem in school. How can my opinion be wrong? And
Yeah.
this bitch, it was her first year teaching a fucking philosophy class because after the writing, I wanted to be a philosophy professor. And then my parents basically said, we will disown you if you go any further with this. So I'm like, guess I'll get a normal job. Fuck.
Yeah.
Nursing, here I come.
Yeah. Well, if I ran a writing class, first we would start with a discussion of genre and what a genre is. And then the midterm assignment and the final assignment would be write something in this
Style.
genre, in this genre's style. Because here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the person who writes something that is typically not in the genre assigned, but writes it as if it is. Like, for example, this is a romantic comedy, but it's written like a Western. Stuff like that. That's what I'm looking for. This is a
Terminator that got
fiction.
sent to medieval Scotland.
Yeah. But we're gonna write it like a Western. You know, do you get it? You know, will I be able to? Can I, as a person who's absorbed a lot of fiction, identify what you're doing, and does it work? Like, for example, if you come up to me and you're like, oh, yeah, this is Star Wars, but as if it was written by Elmore Leonard. I know what that is. I know what you're talking about. I know what that means. And so I'm going to be like, okay, give me your Star Wars written as Elmore Leonard story. And as long as it's not just like a
Knockoff.
not a complete as long as it's not plagiarization.
Yeah.
It could be a knockoff, but like make sure it's a really good knockoff.
Yeah.
You know.
But
because I can't expect students to not make knockoffs. That's unreasonable.
And everything, you know,
but
every idea
you're trying
evolves
to
from something else
to insert themselves into whatever they're knocking off. That's what makes it different. That's what makes it interesting. You know,
but
it's so. If you weren't dyslexic, you'd be writing so much monster fucking novels right now. I think you should do it anyway. But one of the things that I hate about classes about writing and stuff like that, where they say, "Oh, well, this is marketable." Well, now it's not playful; it's business.
This is supposed to be fun for me.
Yeah, if art is not fun to do, there is no reason to do it. You are trying to get something, you are trying to instill a sense of discipline, not a sense of business and boringness and conformity. That's not what discipline is. And it is an improper use of it. It is an improper use of discipline to do that. Discipline is supposed to get you in that mode of thinking to do whatever it is you're looking to do when you want. You were no longer waiting for inspiration. You were just doing it. That's the purpose of discipline, is to do certain things without having to think about it. You know, the martial artist who pulls off the slick move, he no longer thinks about what each part of that slick move is. It's completely unconscious. He's trained himself to the point where it just happens. Same thing with writing, same thing with painting. You know, oh, but what if I pick up bad habits? Well, then you got to go break them.
Go off. Go do it.
There are two things that I have heard a creator say to me that I think are the most important. Just absolutely the most important to anyone starting out. Actually, 3 lines. The first one is, don't look to me for permission to start. If you do that, you're already fucked. Just start. It doesn't matter how bad it is. Just start. Second thing, as long as you don't suck, you'll be okay. Now, what makes suck? Well, that's hard to quantify. But trust me, people know it when they see it. If it does not get their brain boner going, you suck. And the last one, from the man himself, Harlan Ellison. Stop writing crap.
But then there are people like me that are like, I want to write snuff, but the guy actually finds out that his daughter's been eaten by a werewolf and discovers a werewolf cult in LA.
No, that sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. Like, did Josh ever tell you about his vegan werewolf script?
No, but he did tell me about his Yeti Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he has a vegan werewolf script that is
my God.
all about, it's just 2 guys in the woods. One of them is a werewolf, the other is turning into a werewolf. And the guy turning into the werewolf is a vegan. And the other guy is already a vegan werewolf, but he is trying to convince the other guy that eating people is vegan.
Oh
I was
God.
like, what? And I'm like, dude, you basically wrote an A24 script before that was a thing.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, it was such a good idea. Like, I could see on a technical level, you know, the problems with it. You know, it wasn't a professional level script, but like that idea was fantastic.
But we were talking one day and he's like, I want to write Romeo and Juliet with a Yeti and a Sasquatch. And I'm like, that would be amazing, but you cannot have any dialogue in the film. They've just got to be like grunting and moaning at each other. And that has to convey everything. It's essentially
and
a
then they made a
film.
Sasquatch movie like that.
Yeah. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Because the real magic of A24 is they don't tell people what to make. People that they work with have ideas, and they decide whether they're going to put money into it or not, or distribute it if it's already made. It's a very different way of doing business, a very different way of making film, much more artist friendly. Does this mean there's going to be a lot of pretentious films that they put out?
Yes.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Like, that Sasquatch, like, fucking, oh, what was it called? In a Violent Nature is one of the most pretentious movies ever made. And it is excellent. But that is so pretentious, where it's just sort of like, all right, we're going to make the slasher a slasher movie, but we're only following the slasher. What?
Okay.
Why? Because we want to get into how boring it is.
I mean,
I don't know why I am so curious about this. I don't know why that movie was so entertaining.
I fucked up. And one of my favorite A24 stories. So my mom passes, and I'm like, I want to feel better. I'm gonna go see The Whale.
Oh, that's another great movie that's extremely pretentious.
It's extremely pretentious, but also when you're just coming off of the death of a parent to watch a movie all about the death of a parent. I came out of that movie and I called Josh and I'm like, I am really pissed at myself that I didn't look into, like, I knew what the movie was about. I didn't know the ending. And now I feel bad about fucking everything. You gotta be okay. I'm not sleeping tonight, but I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, ironically, kind of like what Canon Films did, just less reckless.
Oh God. Before I forget, the capper on the philosophy teacher, I got into so many arguments with this bitch. And it was seriously over, well,
I had great philosophy instructors. I got lucky.
I had a great one. And then I took the next class up and it was a first time teacher.
Oh.
And at the end of the year, and I mean, like, I was bitching at her like every single day about my opinion is not wrong. How I look at this problem is not wrong. It's just not the way you would look at it. But if I've settled myself into existentialism and I can find an existentialist answer, why the fuck aren't we doing? Why can't you look at it from my angle? Well, no. And when it came
whoa, back up. She said, what?
Yeah, she didn't think that existentialism should be the answer to anyone's problems. And I'm like, but that's a school of philosophy.
That's school of philosophy is that you're supposed to be able to do that.
That's
especially
kind of
like
point.
Is she okay? When you did existentialism, did Albert Camus ever come up?
I brought it up.
Oh,
she never did.
Oh,
she was too busy sucking on Nietzsche's dick.
Because at that point, look, if Jean-Paul Sartre is the only thing you know of existentialism, I'm going to tell you straight up, you have missed the point. And because at the end of the day, Sartre missed the point.
But at the same time, I did
Albert Camus was the guy who got it.
I had a hell is other people keychain for a while, just because I was dead set. But end of the year came and they audited her class and made us give comments about her. And on my comment card, and she said, I know you wrote that. And I'm like, no, you don't. I said she was the worst thing to happen to philosophy since, oh God, Socrates was forced to drink a hemlock smoothie. And I was like, yeah, no, sorry. I know you wrote that. And I'm like, oh, those are private comments. I don't even think you're supposed to be telling me about that.
What I would have said, you were the worst thing to happen to Western thought since Plato.
God.
But I've got an axe to grind against Plato. Plato was the first philosopher I ever hated.
And but it's like, you can't just teach one school of thought. That's my whole thing.
Oh, God, no.
Fucking insane. And for you to say, well, your opinion on this matter is wrong. And I'm like, but here's my issue. If I made it make sense to everyone else, she explained existentialism shittily. Okay. And I ended up doing a better job going, okay, let's describe this as a video game and try to get people to understand, like, no, there are NPCs, there's you, and then there's the rest of the world. Whatever you do, that's your free will. That's part of this. And I explained it well at the time and got people to understand what I was fucking talking about. My other teacher got pissed off because I was teaching the doctrine of double effect to somebody before a test. And what are you doing? teaching her about the doctrine of double effect, that, morphine, while it could help somebody, could also kill somebody in
Yeah.
medical context. But why are you telling her about this? You were out of the room. That was my answer to him. You weren't here. I also had to ask this guy, look, I know technically the school wants us all to shell out money for these books, but this girl can't afford it. So if I share my book with her, is that like breaking the rules of this class first year in college? And he's like, no, are you sure you're gonna? I trust me, I'm gonna do fine. Because I read a lot and I just soak it up like a little sponge. And oof.
Yeah.
But
My
Jack, if
philosophy
Plato didn't
teach-
exist, then who would Diogenes troll?
in his spare time.
Here's
Actually, here's the thing. I'm
strip
pretty sure
chicken.
Diogenes would have been way happier just chilling out in a bathtub. But then here comes Plato saying stupid shit. And it's like nails on a chalkboard to the guy. And he's like,
Oh, now I gotta go
okay.
pluck a chicken.
I gotta do this, you know. But my philosophy teacher, my first one, he started off by saying, there is nothing about any philosopher that cannot be simplified into just a couple of sentences. Everything else is that they write is just a dialogue and an idea that can be stated simply. That's it. That's how it works. That's what it is. And sometimes it's quite as simple as hopelessness is bad.
Yeah.
That was Nietzsche's whole thing.
Don't be a nihilist.
Don't be a
It's not
nihilist. That
good.
sounds like a stupid way to live. You know, stupid, dumb, and lazy is no way to go through life, son. You know,
Yeah,
like
seriously.
that's essentially Nietzsche.
And it's easier to be a nihilist, which is why you're supposed to fight against that.
Yeah, Kierkegaard. Oh, god damn it. People are assholes, aren't they?
Yeah, we all kind of suck.
Yeah,
That's
people
our
kind of
nature.
suck. You know, like the thing that keeps life from being awesome aren't the people who suck, because they make it harder for everybody.
But this fucking bitch with, it's written on a stone tablet somewhere. Cognito ergo sum. Good for you. That's really nice. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go talk to my old professor because he would bring up like, okay, I'm an asshole and I beat my wife and I drink all the time and I gamble away all our savings. But when I do well at the casino, I give my money to charity. Am I really a bad guy? Yes, still. Those are the questions I like. If you're abducted by aliens and you have to explain the human race to them, how do you do it?
Yeah, what would you do? You know,
Exactly.
How would you do that?
Love that guy.
Another, like Plato. If you properly categorize everything, pure justice will appear. Now, if you are of a modern mind, you will probably go, that sounds stupid. It is.
Because it is.
Plato is stupid. Oh, but he came up with the ship of Theseus. Did he? Or did he just rip off from Socrates?
Oh, I love Sapphic, my favorite philosopher, because she wrote about her love for women. I gotta tell you, man, lesbians, where it's at.
Yes.
I wonder if I had for a while a t-shirt. I wonder if it's around
Hey, Jack,
anywhere.
why do I hate Plato? I'll tell you why I hate Plato. Because Plato is the ultimate black or white thinker. Something either is something or it isn't. And he does not deal well with ambiguity, despite the fact that he uses the analogy of the cave. Which, like anything that Plato said that sounded smart came from Socrates.
I also love the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few argument in philosophy, because I'm like, fuck yeah, if we can go Spock with it, why not? How do you
My
build a better society?
well,
And I was like,
here is the thing for me. I think philosophy makes better understanding of philosophy. A true, well-rounded understanding of philosophy makes better people. It does not make a better society, but it
no.
does make better people
And those
because,
people can go off and make a better society based on their knowledge.
yeah. But my opinion is that there is a certain amount of minimal suckage that is always going to be there, and there's nothing you could do about it. It's all about where you let it be. So, for example, do I believe in equality of all peoples? I am like, yes, until we get down to the actual real differences between people.
Yes.
Then the idea of equality actually has to get thrown out the window because now you're comparing apples to oranges. It's not the same. You know, does it tend to balance out? I think so.
Well,
But I can't prove that because how would I prove that?
but then there's like this whole weird elitist part of this where it's like, I can't, are all people created equal? Yes, obviously. All people should be treated as equals.
Mhm.
But you can't put me in a fucking running contest with Usain Bolt.
Exactly.
You can't. I'm not smarter than Einstein. It,
No one person
but
is
he
more
couldn't button
entitled.
his fucking shirt. I beat him every day on that.
No person is more or less entitled to respect and dignity than any others except for through their actions. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with equality. You know, it is not by dint of birth that one deserves respect or dignity. It is an inherent thing that should be given unless given a reason to do otherwise. A real reason. And those
Yeah.
reasons to me are evidenced through an individual's actions. Nothing else.
But I've done that Usain Bolt argument, and then people are like, "Well, you're elitist." No, no, I'm
No, that's
not.
not what elitism is. Elitism is believing that a specific category of person is more deserving.
Right.
That's
And
elitism.
I'm like, it's not elitist for me to think that Albert Einstein is smarter than me.
Correct.
It isn't.
Correct. If you
It
were
isn't.
then to think that only smart people should be allowed to make decisions that affect the entire society, that would be elitism.
Oh, thank you, Yishify.
Oh, thank you, Yishify. From 80s comic discussion to philosophical thought. That's why I love the stream.
Is this a normal night with a horror mom?
Mm. Philosophy is like kind of one of my jams, and
Our special interest gel, and that's always perfect.
Yeah, even though the thing that frustrates me is I thought I did not read a lot of. I never thought of myself as having read a lot of philosophy, but I have read
so much.
I have. Don't argue with me about Plato's The Republic unless you've read it. Because I have read that thing from start to finish twice.
It ain't
so
good.
that I could say with some authority and personal conviction that Plato is full of fucking shit.
Well,
oh, somewhere out there's this ideal image of a chair. No, that's just an idea you made up.
To discussions on philosophical thought. This is why I love this stream.
I much prefer the Eastern tradition of the thought of perfection. Perfection exists only through action. A perfect action leads to a perfect result. I don't know if that's true, but I can roll with it. Whereas, oh yeah, somewhere out there's a perfect thing that you'll never be able to fucking replicate.
Achieve. Yeah, no.
Only because you made it up. It's not real. Perfection is not real. It cannot be an object.
Well, that's another thing. The way people glorify other people. And it's like, don't talk to me about how wonderful Mother Teresa is if you don't know that she believed in pain and
Yeah.
suffering as a way of getting closer to Jesus. Helen Keller, definitely inspiring, was super into eugenics and thought that she was a freak that didn't need to exist.
Yeah.
That is an actual thing. But no. They're inspiring and wonder. Some of these people are really shitty.
Oh yeah.
You want perfect people, saintly people, good people.
No. Some of the my favorite historical figure, monster, absolute monster, Genghis Khan, absolute fucking monster.
One of my favorite historical figures is Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad Tepes, monster. But
he invented germ warfare.
Yeah.
Give the man his props. He put plague victims in a forest that he knew an alternate army was going to roam through. And it's like, yeah, you bitches are getting the fucking plague.
Yeah, because he understood that contact with the plagued bodies caused people to get the plague. Like he wasn't
and that was
stupid.
Before they got to the forest of the dead, which, hey, you know what's really fucking intimidating? A narrow fucking pathway filled with your buddy's dead corpses on spikes.
Yeah. I'm actually partially convinced that stories of like ghouls and stuff. I mean, I know they're Middle Eastern. I know that ghouls are Middle Eastern. But think about it. You're roaming through a woods, there are all these plague victim bodies, and all of a sudden one of them ain't quite dead. Or there's just a guy who's a crazy cannibal. All of a sudden you've got a folkloric monster on your hands.
Yes.
And in a sense you do.
And
he may not be actually undead, but oh my fucking God, what was he doing?
Well, and then Bram Stoker's Dracula is based off of the propaganda that was sent out about Vlad.
Yes.
And his terrible xenophobia.
Oh, yeah.
All these European men are going to immigrate to our country and start fucking our women.
Yeah.
Yikes.
There was this one thing I was very proud of. Nobody noticed. But in a game I ran, everyone believes that this one character, there's this rumor going around that this one character is in fact Vlad Jackula, and everyone's very scared of him. But I pointed out that in his chamber was a Turkish rug and nobody got it. Yeah, you get it because you yeah. Yeah. You had to be a specific type of history nerd to get that joke.
Oh, here. I don't know if anyone can see it, but there's my Seal of the Dragon Vlad tattoo.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's how into it I am. So
yeah. So the joke is Vlad Dracul hated the Turks, like with a boiling passion. Like it was pure racism.
I can tell you a story about his hatred for the Turks. They tried to negotiate a peace deal with Vlad. By the way, they had kidnapped him when he was a child and held him hostage. So he did have
and raped the shit out of him, by the way.
Treated him like shit. So these fucking assholes come into his court and refuse to take off their helmets. He sends them back to Turkey with the helmets nailed to their heads. He also, a woman, this is horrifying, but I love it. Just because, holy shit, this dude fucking ballsy as shit. Woman that he was sleeping with, because everybody likes to fuck.
Yes.
Everybody poops, everybody likes to fuck. She comes and says, I'm pregnant. It's yours. And timelines ain't making sense. Okay. And it's like, the last time we fucked was like, he may have tortured her. He may have taken out her uterus and may have held it up to her to go and said empty.
Damn. That is
Don't
sadistic.
don't try to do the baby daddy shit with him.
Okay. So I want to see if I constructed it right. So
Yes.
you're in a chamber. There's someone everyone assumes is Vlad Dracul because he seems to know a lot about that court, but he has a Turkish rug. You know, but he seems to know a lot about Wallachia. Who is it?
Is it his brother?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
It's Radu. It's Radu the Handsome. You know, who, by the way, was not as xenophobic against the Turks as his brother Vlad, because he
basically got Stockholmed. They both were kidnapped, but because he went, you know something, you guys aren't actually that bad, they kind of just accepted him into their little party.
Also, like, the guy that had essentially enslaved Radu, they became like legitimate lovers.
Everybody likes to fuck.
Yeah. And you're like, wait, it went from rape to love? Yeah, people are complicated.
Yeah, and also he's considered a folk hero in your phone country, which I'm guessing is home country. I'm part Romanian, so there you go.
We had to put you in more calls with Yogi, the resident Romani.
We're fun people. But my grandmother, or my great-great-grandmother, basically went from Romania to Greece, lived in Greece for 3 years. So her paperwork would say she was from Greece when she came to America because she didn't want all that heat from being from Romania.
Yeah, I could see that. I
No,
do not want to be known as coming from Eastern European nation that has communists in it. Yeah.
I hear that you guys won't like that, so we're just gonna change my background.
I am
it's
Greek.
Cool.
Here, have my moussaka. Yeah. And some ouzo. And some olive oil, please.
She even got a job at an Italian restaurant when she came to the States to keep going. See, I'm Greek.
I am Greek. That is only so far from Italy, you know?
We love our food. Yes, we do. And that's why, so
it's so funny how much Greek food is actually based on Italian food without tomatoes.
And the fun part for me and my family is we're Polish and Romanian. And it's like, yeah, the weird mix of that shit at Thanksgiving is hilarious. You don't want stuffed grape leaves next to your kielbasa? The fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, kielbasa. Kielbasa is good, though.
Oh my God, kielbasa is the best. Yeah. Pierogies, too.
Yeah, pierogies, kielbasa. Sauerkraut on kielbasa.
Ugh.
You know, a little mustard, you know, damn.
And if you're my aunt and you're trying to be super cute, you say kielbasi. and then I want to just strangle you over the oyster stuffing.
Meow. Did you just fart at me, cat?
Question: does the rug really tie the room together? Yes, it
Together.
fucking
Yes, it
did.
did. Yes, it did. It tied the room together. Whoa.
Stinky cat.
Cat fart. Yeah. Oh, now he's just gonna sleep on the bed. Oh.
I'm
God.
happy my son isn't here right now because I would make him tell a story to everybody. So today he was running around again. One moment where he ran outside naked, but most of the time he was chilling in my room and poured juice on my bed. Didn't mean to. But aside from that, at one point he comes bolting out into the living room. Me and my dad are watching an episode of the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes, right?
Oh, I love that show.
Just chilling out. It's on Amazon. We got BritBox. We're like, fuck yeah, let's watch some Jeremy Brett. Fuck Sherlock. But he's talking to me about like, mom. So I'm thinking we get your keys. We go to Michael's. We get stuff to make potions because I want to make potions because I want to be a gnome. And I think if I know the right ingredients for this potion, we can get them all at Michael's and I can become a gnome. And I'm like, okay, off the bat, we're starting off fucking crazy, but cool. You want to be a gnome? We can be gnomes.
Okay, what I'm
That's
getting
fine.
from this.
Right? But in the middle of his whole like plan, and then we go to the woods and we can pick up sticks and leaves and plants that I need to be a gnome. And I'm sorry, I just farted. And then he continued on with what he was saying, but apologized. Da 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 da. Sorry, I just farted. Da 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 da. And I'm like, well, just don't glance over that part. Say, excuse me. Why? It already happened. And I'm like, well, don't fan it around. Like my dad is busting up on the couch across from me. And I'm like, fucking do something about it. He's being a gross little boy. Tell him it's not cool to do this shit. Just like I was taking a shower and I just heard, Mom, open the door. Buddy, I'm taking a shower. Okay. Couple minutes goes by. Continue taking my shower. Okay, you really need to let me in now. Buddy, you are not allowed in here while I'm taking a shower. I've got to take a shit. And just the panic I heard in his voice, it's like, ah, fuck, dude, I guess it's over. There you go. Thank you. Oh my God, I thought I was going to explode. And this kid that won't give me privacy for love or money. Now shut the door. I need my privacy. I need my privacy, Mom. Just get out. Don't disturb me. Okay. Thanks.
Oh my god.
A gnome alchemist, his new D&D class character.
I can't remember the music from that TikTok trend.
But he saw that and now he's obsessed with fucking gnomes. It took me forever to figure out what the fuck he was talking about. And he's like, make me this costume. And I watched it and I'm like, okay. And gnomes walk around like this. And then he was walking around on his knees. And I'm like, you're short enough as it is, dog. Like, you don't need to do that.
I need to be able to hear the gnome song.
Yes. You play the gnome song. I'm going to use first. I will be back.
Okay, I'm gonna get some coffee. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna get some coffee. Could do an intermission. Yeah.
And back to nothing.
Okay, well, bro.
Yay.
Yeah, we're back, baby. Oh, man. So, yeah. To quote Elvira, nothing wrong with a G-rated movie as long as there's a lot of sex and violence in them.
Mhm.
Get more out of life, watch a fucked up movie. You know? Come on. I
There,
let me put it this way. I may not make reviewer videos anymore. But the reason I wanted to do it was to introduce people to some fucked up shit.
that's why I like doing my show as well. Was I have seen way too much shit that not a lot of other people have seen. So if I can introduce like a favorite thing to a wider audience, that's why I did Maniac 4 fucking times. Because I kept meeting people that said, I haven't seen Maniac. And I'm like, oh, with my boy Joe Spinell, my baby, my sweetheart. The only other person that I love in this world more than my son and Josh is Joe Spinell. And Josh says, well, thank God he's dead. Otherwise, I'd be screwed. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. We'd yeah, we've all got someone like that.
Physically intimidating Italian man that I just
Keep watching fucked up movies, man. Like
yeah.
that's why I know I bring this up every time, but it's why I don't get along with horror talk very well.
No, these
'Cause
fucking
it's not-
kids, man.
It's not about fucked up movies, and I'm like, well, can I introduce you to a fucked up movie? and they don't
Can I
want
tell you
that.
about one?
Let me tell you about a fucked
This
up movie,
one.
kids. You know,
If you're not going to talk about Invasion of the Bee Girls, you can go fuck off.
if you're not gonna sit down and watch Ichi the Killer, at least I need to hear your opinion on violent movies.
There's
I just don't. I just don't, because what am I gonna learn from you? That you know less than me? That's not productive.
I'm staring at my DVDs right now and I see Martin and Midnight and fucking Piranha and Quetzalcoatl, which not a
Oh,
lot of
cue the
people
winged
know.
serpent. Fuck yeah, cue the winged serpent.
Uh,
I
my
saw
dad
that when I
act.
was like 8 years old, man.
Do you remember there's a shot of, oh fuck, I lost his name. Damn it. Michael Moriarty
Yeah,
looking at the egg,
yeah.
right? Up in the Empire State Building. So my dad was worked with a band called the Walking Clampets, and they did a cover of the song Little Black Egg. And my dad used that footage of Michael Moriarty circling around the egg as the background for that song that they would project behind them during that song.
Oh. What did I think of the Maniac remake? It was excellent.
I thought it was great. And I want to know when the meeting happened that, Robert Pattinson's like, I'm going to go do more dramatic roles after I'm done with Twilight. Feel like more fun and dramatic roles or something I'd like to do. And Daniel Radcliffe's like, well, I am funny and I'm going to continue to be funny after Harry Potter. And Elijah Wood throws up his fingers and he's like, I'm going to become Trauma.
Yeah,
And just like
yeah.
leaves.
So, I got that Lord of the Rings money. Deuces.
Yeah. It's
You
like,
be
was
working
there a
for
private,
me.
was there like a secret behind the scenes meeting between the three of you where you all decided what the fuck you were going to do? And Elijah Wood's like, no, I'm taking horror and sci-fi. Fuck all y'all.
Yeah. I'm taking horror and sci-fi, and you guys will be working for me in 10 years.
By the way, Elijah Wood, if you ever see this, where the fuck is my Toxic Avenger?
Yeah, what happened with that?
Where's my toxic fucking Avenger?
Yeah, I know. Like, I can only assume there's like some sort of deal that they're still working on.
I know it
It's
got
not
shown at a
going
couple
to.
film festivals and then it died. I didn't hear anything about a
Yeah,
release date.
yeah. Whereas, I don't know how to put it other than this. Uncle Lloyd would never have let that happen. He would have released that movie Hell or High Water.
Talk to Uncle Lloyd. Get it released on fucking Shutter. Do something.
Do something. Yeah. Why
Do something.
anyone
God.
do that? At least get it shown on Troma now. Come on, you can do that. Oh yeah, these kids are scared of Five Nights at Freddy's. Fuck that. That shit is nothing.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Poppy's Playtime. Bullshit.
Yeah, it's horse shit. It's like, look, if you like it, cool.
I mean, more power to you, but and I'm looking at my
What I
shelves
really
just
mean
going,
is, I don't want to shit on your parade, but I'm kind of shit on your parade.
but it kind of kills me when you have the same
I hate
thing.
FNAF lore. I hate the lore. Like, lore can be a lot of fun, but it's not the experience.
Well, and that's another thing I ran into when I was running my stream. I don't always want to show horror films. Sometimes I just want to go, here's a great movie that not a lot of people have seen, and I want to share it with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're the horror mom. Why are you showing me this Australian film? Because he died with a falafel in his hand is fucking good. Surprise. One of my favorites.
Actually, a movie that I actually really kind of like that, like, Guru hates. Hated it. Rubber.
He hated. Oh.
I loved Rubber.
I still have promotional condoms from that movie somewhere.
Rubber, a story about a tire that gets telekinetic powers and goes on an adventure and tries to find love.
And the condoms, everybody, because I'm obsessed with any movie. Bride of Chucky had promotional condoms, and they said for when Chucky gets lucky.
I remember that
and
shit.
I went to a
That was
horror
Seed of
convention
Chucky.
and fucking Rubber. I went to a horror convention and they were one of the people that got promotion during it, and they were doing a special screening of it. And when the rubber meets the road, and you opened up this little matchbook and there was a condom in it. And I was like, that's amazing. I love this. I love promotional things for movies. Always have, always fucking will.
I thought they should have given away little bottles of olive oil for the greasy strangler. Oh, you still
Again.
need to see Killer Condom? Yeah, it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's about
Yeah,
a condom that eats dicks.
It's like teeth.
Yeah, it has little teeth, little H.R. Giger teeth. Eats people's dicks off. That's it. That's the movie. And it's a big like allegory for homophobia, for French homophobia specifically.
But even like Destroy All Neighbors.
I loved it. Destroy All Neighbors.
I love that too. And I talked about it before. I'm friends with Charles Piper, who co-wrote the film, and the Jonah Hill character. If you've seen Charles, you go, oh, so that's you. You mean the tall dweeby guy with glasses and dark hair who's Jonah Hill in this movie? No.
We party, Willie. Willie.
But I saw Alex Winter repping that shit hard, and he should have.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, did Horror talk about it?
Nah.
Not really.
No, they didn't like Immaculate.
And they're taking Long Legs and going, this is really great, but we're liking it for all the wrong reasons. You can like that movie because Nicolas Cage is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
It's the highlight of the film.
It's the way to go with it. But there's so much shit that people aren't talking about. Again, Late Night with the Devil was another one that it's like, I saw a lot of advertisement for it. I did not see a lot of people talking about it. And I'm like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
This is going to be personal to Jack. The way Josh watches Fall Guy is the way I watch Late Night with the Devil. Even worse, I Supruder footage that movie to find all the background shit.
Dude, the movie I did that with for years was Blade Runner.
Yes.
Blade Runner is probably the movie I have seen the most times.
The movie I'm named after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My dad was so excited when he found out that I was going to be a girl, because my younger brother's name is John, and that's one of Harrison Ford's characters from a movie. I'm Rachel from Blade Runner, and then my older brother is Sam from The Witness. We're all named after Harrison Ford films, and he snuck it in on my mom. As Robin Williams said, some parents use the Bible. I use the TV guide.
Actually, I think he used Nintendo Power.
Yeah, seriously. Zelda. There was that great ad with her and him, and I love that to this day. Yeah. And then he goes off and he saves the princess. Dad, are you talking about me again, or are you talking about the game? And it's like, I got 3. I'll send one over.
Yeah, to me, like, if you come up to me and you're like, quote Blade Runner at me, my first question is going to be, which version?
We have all of them.
Yeah, I know all of them.
It's another movie that gets quoted a lot. You know what a turtle is? Same thing.
Same thing. The turtle is upside down. It's baking in the hot sun. It wants to flip over, but it can't, and you're not helping. What do you mean? I mean you're not helping.
Not helping.
They're just questions, Leon. And to answer your question, they're written down for me. So
and
why don't we why don't you tell me about the pleasant things that come to mind when I ask about, say, your mother, My mother.
You want to talk about my mother?
Uh,
Yeah, he's fine if nobody unplugs him. I can't look at that actor without going, Brian Toga. How can you not? What? Or my son will get so caught up in his talking that he will not make.
Runner. Tell him I'm eating.
2, 4.
And noodles.
That quoted a lot in this
Buy
house.
snakes from the old Arab all the time, pal.
Which I talked a previous stream about one note impressions. This snake, not fish scale.
Not fish. Snake
Snake
scale.
Go
Go here.
here. Ben
He-
Hassan.
Ben Hassan, he make the
Make
snake.
the snake. My eyes freezing.
Oh, cold. Cold. Your Nexus 6. I design your eyes. Yeah.
Your eyes. So fucking good. And then my son will get so caught up in what he's saying. My dad's like, did you catch any of that? It was a mishmash of German, Japanese, what have you. How could you not make a city speak joke? And then they made Blade Runner 2049. Blade Runner 2049 pissed me off.
Oh, 2046?
Yeah.
Why?
Harrison Ford is a fucking replicant.
Oh.
Harrison Ford is a fucking replicant.
Oh.
I will say it louder for the people in the back. Harrison Ford has always been a goddamn replicant. They lasered his eyes. You can see it in the fucking movie.
Okay, so there are 4 cuts of Blade Runner.
Yes.
The theatrical cut, which is the one with the voiceover. The first director's cut. The
studio cut,
and then the final cut. In my opinion, if you see the theatrical and the first director's cut, you don't really need to deal with the other two. That
unless you want the wires removed from the cars and shit like that.
Yeah. My opinion is that they're both really good. They're both excellent. But they do have a different tone. The theatrical cut makes it feel a lot closer to its
source material,
which is a movie called Alphaville. The second one feels way more like a Ridley Scott movie. And it ends on a much more ambiguous note, which I feel enhances the ambiguous nature of what's going on.
Well, and there's the alternate ending that throws everything into question, where they're driving and Rachel turns to him and says, it's almost like we were made for each other.
Yeah.
And the music cuts in. And I love that. I actually really love the original script, but that's something completely different.
Yeah. The voiceover one is pretty good because there are things, there is dialogue that isn't in the director's cut. Like the whole exchange between Deckard and I almost want to say, I know it's not Abdul Hassad, but the man who make this snake.
Yes.
You know, that exchange does not exist. The footage does, but it's told silently in the director's cut. Whereas in the theatrical,
I looked around town.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, hey, who can afford something like this? Not many. How many? Very few. Look, pal, you know?
Yeah. And then, of course, you get the fucking scummy bartender who I love to death. Get him a drink. This man is
The man
dry.
is dry.
And it kills me that I saw that actor again. He is the bad guy in Human Tornado.
Oh yeah.
And I lost my fucking mind. I'm like, this guy looks so familiar. This guy looks so fucking familiar. What the fuck?
Yeah, what oh god, what's his character's name? I used to know it. Blade Runner, the man looks dry. Da-da-da, the man is dry. Da-da-da-da-da. Ah, you're not. No. What is the famous line from Blade Runner? Half the movie?
They're probably going to say it's the Tears in the Rain speech.
Tyrell, Gaff, Deckard, Batty, Tyrell, Leon, Deckard, Batty, Hannibal Chew,
Taffy Lewis.
Taffy. That's right. Taffy Lewis. I'm at Taffy Lewis's place. Why don't you come down, meet me for a drink? I really don't think that's my kind of
My
place.
kind of place.
Mr. Deckard. Go somewhere else. Boo, 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 boo.
Is this to question whether I'm a replicant or a lesbian, Mr. Deckard?
Just answer the question. Yeah, no, the theatrical cut is actually worth it. A lot of people are like, the director's cut is the only way to go. I disagree. I actually think that they're both extremely good. And it's a really good study in how a few key changes will affect the film in different ways, neither of which are bad. But they are different. Like the somehow and for some reason, without the voiceover, Roy's motivation is much clearer. What he is doing is much clearer, and why he is doing it.
That's two changes from the original Blade Runner script that piss me off. One is he goes up to do the chess match which is, by the way,
Tyrell, yeah.
Yes. But by the way, another thing that's quoted in my house,
Queen to Bishop 3. Checkmate, I think.
we do the jiggity jig. Good evening, JF.
Morning. Evening, boys.
Home again, jiggity jig. Good evening, JF.
Hey, hello. Oh, God.
They're my friends. I make them.
Make them. They're toys. My friends are toys.
Love that guy. But the original script of Blade Runner, Batty is supposed to go meet Tyrell, and the Tyrell that comes up to him, you couldn't have built yourself, let alone me. Take me to him. And then he punches in a code in the wall, and you see that he's basically Mr. House from fucking Fallout, mummified corpse kind of thing, living in a tube. And Batty unplugs him, kills the android, and leaves. The original ending of Blade Runner, they're supposed to make it out of the city. Rachel plays in the snow. This has been the most beautiful day of my entire life. Now end it. And you're supposed to hear the shot go off. And it's like, this is all fucking terrible. I want to see this movie. Fuck. Now, also, I want to give another message about Blade Runner. You know, gaslighting is terrible, but convincing your girlfriend that she is an android that only has a 4-year lifespan, that's a Philip K. Dick move.
Yes.
We don't do that to people.
Yeah. That's yeah. Gaslighting is a dick move, but if you convince her she's an android with a 4-year lifespan, that's called a Philip K. Dick move.
K. Dick move. Just even worse, especially when my dad's like, he was so proud when I ended up as a kid loving unicorns. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Really? As an adult, and I finally see Blade Runner, I'm like, no. You're Rachel, you like unicorns. Tell me about the spider in your window when you were a kid. Or even worse, my entire life, if he needs me and he knows it's not that important, Rachel, Rachel, just that lost little boy voice that Harrison Ford does, and I'm like, dude, I'm right fucking God, you don't have to do the Blade Runner thing, Dad. You cursed me with that fucking name. Even worse is when South Park started calling people Shelly, because that's one of my nicknames. And Shelly! Shelly! Damn it! Why?
And then that turned into Sharon, Sharon,
Sharon,
Sharon.
Sharon.
Because they couldn't get enough of the Osbournes, you know? Yeah, but
The
man,
opposite.
LA's Blade Runner LA is what I was promised in 2014. I didn't get it.
Didn't get to dress like that. Hockey hasn't been outlawed this year. That fucking sucks. Because
Yeah.
Jason X says that in 2024, hockey will be outlawed. I'm waiting.
Yep. Oh man, but like,
All the
what
things
was
the
it?
future
Man, what was
promises.
it about that Mason? What is it about Blade Runner? You know, like, I don't know how to say it other than it is one of those movies where, for the first time in ages, you saw the future. You did not. Star Trek
This
was in space. That's
Star Wars was
space.
set on another planet.
Yeah, Blade Runner was the fucking future.
And it was dirty, and it was grimy, and it was punk,
Yeah.
and it was amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Ignore my giant water
I
bottle, everybody.
I liked what dude did. The question that dude asked in the sequel. You know, because it had to have a big question, right? It had to be an
Yeah.
examination of a big question. The first one is, what is it to be alive? That's the big question to Blade. What is it? What does it mean to be alive? The sequel, the question is love real? Now, the thing I like about it is that it's ambiguous, but you could come to the conclusion either way. Well, either way, yes or no, according to what happens in the film. It's really hard to do that without coming to a solid answer,
Yeah.
which is key to a Blade Runner story. You know, especially if it's a yes or if it's a yes or no type of question, unlike the first one, which is much more complicated.
Yeah.
You know, what is it to be alive? But to me, the answer I come to at the end of Blade Runner 2046 is love is real. Love is real even if you don't believe in it. Even if you believe it isn't. Because we behave as if it is real. My favorite example of this is Joy. Not the giant hologram one, but the one that exists in his apartment.
And his heart breaks when he loses her.
Yeah. His heart breaks when he loses her, and she risks her own existence constantly for him. Which is not normal artificial intelligence behavior. Like, why would it do that? Oh, it's because he wants her to. Is it? Because that means that it has the capability of understanding love to a degree that it can intimidate it at risk to its own existence. Meaning it does. That means that it does. It does love him. You know, but of course you could say, yeah, but it's only a series of simulated responses, and then you just start going in circles. You know, but like my whole evidence is like the movie says love is real because he experiences everything. Ryan Gosling experiences everything that love is supposed to involve, including lust.
And willing to,
And a
just to
loss of
sacrifice yourself.
Yeah, the ability to sacrifice yourself, a sense of loss of identity. You know, the extreme risks that you're willing to take for it. You know, it's why I left that movie going like, holy shit, someone made a real sequel to that movie. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think you could do that. You know, I didn't think someone was going to come up with another movie that asked such a another profound question in that universe. But I feel like they did. And in my opinion, I still don't know if Deckard is a replicant or not.
I just give the glowing eyes example. That's just me.
Yeah, but I don't know if he is or not. Because the movie never touches that. All you know is that he's able to have children.
And Rachel was able to bear children.
Able to bear a child, more or less.
Because they programmed her with a uterus.
Yeah. But, I love that moment where they have the Rachel clone. He shoots her.
Yeah.
And he's just like...
Her eyes are green.
Were brown. Eyes were brown. And I found
but they give him
thinking
the promise.
about that, and I'm like, oh my God, that's right. We spend so much fucking time in the first movie looking right into Rachel's eyes. And I didn't even think of that. That's where I was like, okay, this writer-director, they know what they're doing. Really know what they're doing.
I asked my dad, why did you name me after Rachel? And he gave one of the most beautiful responses I've ever fucking heard.
Yeah.
A name is a promise you make to that child. And I wanted a promise that you would be smart, beautiful, and able to take care of yourself, just like Rachel. And I'm like,
aww. Aww.
Isn't it sweet? And there I am, like, I originally wanted to name my son William, and I looked at him and I'm like, you're not a Billy, you're a Tommy. And then my mom's like, you better make that good. And I'm like, Thomas. And then spend the next day undilauded because I had a C-section. I'm really trying hard on this birth certificate to come up with a middle name. And I'm like, Thomas Vincent, that would be nice. And then I was watching Criminal Minds, and I'm like, Spencer! Tommy Spence! Fuck yeah, dude! That's the name. My mom's like, it works for a president, a lawyer, Pope, go for it. I'm like, thank God his middle name wasn't Instagram. You would have killed me.
Instagram Jones.
His name's Tommy Tijuana. I wanted him to be a wrestler.
Oh man, my dad has never been straight about what my name was about. My mother wanted to name me Michael. What about your brother? Why do you name your... Well, so that he would be a detective, I assume.
No, my dad saw my brother with his big eyes and his brown hair and went, he looks like the kid from The Fucking Witness. But he was like, and this one will be smart and pure and have a good heart and be helpful. And then, my little brother's named after like the fucking president from Air Force One. Yeah, I've definitely put more fucking pressure on him, but mother wouldn't let me name him Henry, so we're fucked.
Oh my god.
Calls himself Indiana. Named himself after the family dog.
Dog? Named the dog Indiana. You're named after the dog? I really like that dog. Oh man. It's funny, like it is weird thinking how much I actually do love the movie Blade Runner.
Right?
It's
a good movie.
It's a really good movie. Like
it's always been on the top 10 favorites list for me of films ever made.
It and The Thing, I think, are the two movies that influenced me the most.
I need to send you the pictures of the things in my basement. Yes.
Things in your basement?
Well, okay. I have like these, they're almost like wax figures. They're not. They're resin busts on mannequin bodies. Got James Bond, Indiana Jones, Clint Eastwood, the Terminator, and Bub the zombie. But then I have...
Wait, Bub the zombie, not Bud the Chud, right?
No, Bub the zombie.
Bub the zombie from Dawn of the Dead.
From Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead, yeah.
And he does have a little collar chain around his neck, and we have him in the room with the washing machine, and he's on the radiator. But I have a shelf full of the Thing stuff. My dad made me a Childs. My dad made me a McCready. And I got from, I think, one of the actual designers, like it got auctioned off, but it's a statue of the Blair Thing at the end with the Tyrannosaurus head.
Yeah.
Every time I look at it, I just want to say, and fuck you too. It's what you do. But yeah, that's the kind of shit that lives in the basement. Along with like Star Trek toys and all the shit my son wants to play with that I'm like, you can't. Let's not play with the holy water bottle from The Exorcist, please. Put that down.
Yeah, that could get weird.
That's actual screen use prop. Don't touch it. Why do we just have a sword in our kitchen? Well, that sword was in Dracula, babe. You cannot touch. That's a no-toucher.
So you actually have like a replica of that big-ass sword that fucking dude wields around?
Oh,
God.
okay. So I'm not going to put my headphones on because this is big. This is the screen use sword that Gary Oldman whips at Keanu Reeves' head from Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula.
Oh, wow. So it's like actually a prop from the movie.
It got damaged in a move, but there it is in all its glory. And you can tell it's all dinged the fuck up from how many times it got flung across a room. And that's just a thing that lives in the house. And Tommy's like, why do we have a sword in a box? Because this thing should not hit air. And I will set it aside.
Gotta be worth several grand.
and explain why I had to move it later. Oh, that's the other person that's in our basement. We've got old Dracula.
Which one? Oh, you can't hear me.
Because having this shit is fun.
That thing's got to be worth several $1,000s.
Even like just bringing it out like makes my heart race.
Yeah.
That my dad got it at a prop auction. I think he paid $5,000 for it back before he was disabled and back when he was, CEO of the BBB. And it's like, yes, that's money piece.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Dracula you have, which one? Lugosi?
It's old Dracula. It's Gary Oldman, old face, holding a lantern. My mom made the cape for him. So he's in the red silk robe.
Who carved the head? Who sculpted the heads?
This was I'm gonna have to look up the guy because he is kind of famous. I don't remember his name right now. I could wait a minute. I'll just ask my dad. Hold up.
Okay.
Hey, Dad. Howard sent. Thank you. A guy named Howard sent. A guy named Howard Sent. Now, the Clint Eastwood one is my favorite because that one we actually got, it has a silicone face. So you poke it and it feels like flesh. Josh just poked him. And he's got inlaid hair and everything.
Oh, nice. Nice.
My dad's like, the second he makes a dirty hair, we're getting it. I'm like, okay.
I always wanted like something like that in my house. Like, you just turn a corner and there's like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Or some shit,
We've got like the Terminator arm that was out for a while that comes in the giant glass tube, the brain chip. And then my dad made a series of figures. We've got a John Connor, which was never done by anybody, that he had custom, I need the head custom sculpted. I'm going to contact my friend. $20. Guy sends him an Edward Furlong head.
Damn.
Fun stuff.
I do not even know what to say. I am color me impressed. Color me impressed. Like, my collection is chintzy.
The merging of collections will happen one day.
Yeah.
My dad had.
You know what I would really like? I'd really like a long hallway that slowly turns into the Hellraiser hallway, and at the end is the engineer.
All I've wanted my entire life was to live in the Addams Family house, and I'm close. Though
my buddy Anthony came so fucking close.
But
Came so fucking close, and then his wife's like fucking parents evicted them so that they could. Now here's the really fucked up part. His wife is the one who paid for the house.
Oh, come on.
Mm-hmm. They stole the house from their own daughter.
Would my dad ever appear on stream? You know something? If I gave him enough drugs, he might. You're requiring a man with a lot of back problems to sit upright for
right
a couple hours.
Oh.
He used to do streams with me back in the day too. Back when I used to do that.
Oh man. Okay.
But, yeah.
It's been 3 hours. I should probably sign off. of them
Okay.
having a wonderful time. Yeah, wow, fuckers, right, Mousedon? Yeah, you stealing
What
your
dicks?
daughter's house. And they set her up for it too, because they insisted it be in her name, but she paid for it. And because she was their kid, she did what she was told.
That's shitty.
It's super shitty. It's super shitty. And to the point where, like, I find myself going, like, I better not ever see them in a dark alley. Hell, I better not see them on the street.
It's on site, motherfucker.
It's on site. Yeah. Like, you could get spit on if you're gonna get spit on if you're lucky. You know. So yeah, so when a lot of people are like, I went no contact with my parents, I don't question it.
Nope.
I don't question it. You know?
Sometimes family ain't great.
Mm-mm. Nope. That's why we tend to make families out of people not related by blood.
Yep. Which, by the way, Tommy has heard me say, "Oh, I'm going to be on Count Jackula's stream." So now you're not just. I called you Uncle Jack.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Uncle Jack. Mom, can I talk to Uncle Count Jackula? And I'm like,
It's not quite Uncle Daddy, but like.
it's just like, that's too many words, son. That's too many syllables. Just.
Yeah, it still pisses me off. Like, Flashman has been to that house. Like, we were both Anthony's friends, and so, like, we've been at that house many times. You know, and since they moved out of state, we haven't really seen them since.
That sucks.
And that whole community kind of crumbled because Anthony was kind of at the center of it. You know, and he had to move. I think he lives in Nevada now. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
But part of me is lucky that I don't have, I have other people to think about, because there's a whole Etsy shop that makes Spaceballs the shower curtain, Spaceballs the toothbrush holder, that are all marked with what they are, with Spaceballs the soap holder, toilet paper roll, whatever.
Oh
And I'm like, I want to do an entire Spaceballs bathroom, but I've got to think about the other people in the house. Sucks. Damn it.
All right. Well, I had a great time.
I had a great time with you too.
Yeah. I will see you guys tomorrow night over on Twitch. And until then,
If it doesn't explode.
if it doesn't explode, yeah, I gotta start hustling to get a new graphics card, because I think mine is too old. You know, I've got like a 2060 something, like an NVIDIA 2060, a little ancient at this point. I don't even think they make it anymore. Fuck, I don't think they sell it anymore. So, until next time, Ave Satanas Disco Inferno. Remember, Satan and I love y'all very much. I want to thank Rachel again for being on the stream. I want to thank all of you, Cute Little Cat Girl, Mousedon, Cat Hermit, Flashman, Chrome Bison, Vampir's Coffin, and the rest.
Thank you for donating.
Thanks for the donations, and I will see you all later. Good night.